everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have my TBR for the month of March 2025, which is super cool. I've got 5 books on my TBR this month, in addition to 2 that I'm recording this a couple days before the end of February, so it's possible that I'll have finished these by the end of February, but I think quite unlikely. So there are a couple of books that I might be finishing up in the beginning of February, but as far as, or in the beginning of March rather, these are going to be the 5 books that I'm intending to read in the month of March. So good variety of stuff here. Got some fantasy, got a Star Wars book, got some sci-fi, got some funny stuff, different things. Kind of a nice variety this month, which I'm excited for. So first of all, the 2 books that I may be finishing up kind of in the beginning of the month include The Sword of Kaigen and Songs of Love and Death, which were on my February TBR, so I'm going to be finishing those up here at the beginning of the month, but those aren't part of this TBR. So first things first, I do have a Star Wars book on the list for the month, and that is going to be Star Wars Inferno Squad, which is the second book in the Battlefront. It's not really part of the Battlefront series necessarily, but it's a tie-in book for the Battlefront 2 video game. I read Twilight Company, the tie-in book for the first Battlefront game back towards the end of last year, and did not care for it very much. I thought it was just a very forgettable I read it and then I forgot it kind of book. But I'm looking forward to this one. I believe this one's by Christy Golden, who I've heard is a good author. And this one, I'm not too familiar with the story in Battlefront 2. I started it, but I never finished it. But I'm vaguely aware of the characters and things like that. So hopefully I enjoy this one a bit more. I've heard good things about this book. It seems like people tend to like this one. So I'm excited to read it. I think hopefully it should be fun. Next one is going to be a fantasy book, which is actually on my February TBR, but I am including it here because I did not have a chance to get to it in February, which is the Wheel of Time Book 1, The Eye of the World, which I'm going to be rereading. I've been wanting to reread the first handful of Wheel of Time books for a while because I have the first 6, but I DNF'd book 4 about halfway through, and I'd like to get back into the series and see if rereading the first handful of books can just kind of get me excited about it again, because I'm sure I could just pick back up with book 4, but I just feel like I wasn't as drawn into the series as I wanted to be, so I'm going to see if rereading it now with a couple years in between the first read will make me feel a little bit differently maybe. So looking forward to that. Don't have a whole lot to say about that one because I've already talked about it in the last month's TBR, but excited to read that. Hopefully I will enjoy it. I loved it the first time around, so hopefully I'll enjoy it the second time around. I also have a horror book. I'm going to be reading Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This and It were the next Stephen King books that I really wanted to get to. And so far I still haven't gotten my hands on It. I own a few other Stephen King books. If I manage to get my hands on It before I read another one, then that will probably go on next because I really want to read it. But this one in particular is one that I really, really wanted to get to because I've heard not only is it an amazing book, but also I've heard that it is especially effective if you are a parent, which I am. So I'm very interested in reading that because I am sure that whatever happens in this book is just gonna hit me even harder as a parent, even more so than it might otherwise. But I've also just heard it's an amazing book. This one tends to be towards the top of a lot of people's Stephen King rankings. From the very, very minimal amount that I know about this book, it seems intriguing to me. I've tried not to spoil myself too much on even the premise of it, but I do know just a little bit about the premise of it, and it sounds really interesting. And Stephen King is one of those authors that I don't know that I would consider him an all-time favorite yet, because I've only read 4 of his books. But if I read another 1 or 2 of his books and consider them on a similar level to those first 4, he will definitely be an all-time favorite for me because, oh my goodness, I have loved all 4 Stephen King books I have read. So I'm excited to read this one. I hope I enjoy it. Been looking forward to it for a very long time. Next one up, got a self-published book here that I was sent back in mid-January. And so when I'm sent books, you know, I own a fair amount of self-pub books now, but when I'm sent books, I try to get them on the TBR fairly soon-ish. So I wanted to get this on here pretty soon. So I have Theft of Fire by Devin Erickson. His wife sent this to me back in January, which was very nice. I've heard pretty good things about this book, so I'm excited to read it. I don't know a huge amount about it, but what I have heard about it has been pretty positive. And yeah, looking forward to reading this one in general. Don't have a huge amount to say about it, but yeah, I'm always happy to continue to check out stuff, you know, if self-pub authors want to send me books or just to support them or whatever, even just reading books of theirs that I bought or whatever it may be. I want to get into more self-pub stuff, so excited to check this one out. I think it's a sci-fi, so hopefully that'll be a good time. And then the final book on my TBR for this month is going to be Discworld, the second book ever published in Discworld, which is The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I read The Color of Magic. I think I read that last spring, maybe? I can't actually remember. But it's been a little bit since I've read anything from Discworld, and I unfortunately just have not gotten my hands on any more books since I got this one. I think I got this one alongside The Color of Magic, if I remember correctly. But I just haven't been able to buy any more since then, because anytime I go to my local bookstore that I like to go to, they only have like 1 or 2 Pratchett books, and they're the ones I already own. So, and I don't even own that many. So, excited to read this. I'm always excited to read more Terry Pratchett because he's just great. I've only read a handful of his books as well. He's kind of in a similar vein as Stephen King, where I've only read, I think, 3 or 4 Terry Pratchett books, but I've thoroughly enjoyed all of them. So I think in the future, he could definitely be an all-timer for me. Looking forward to reading this one. Kind of similar to Color of Magic, a lot of people tend to consider Light Fantastic to not be one of the stronger Discworld books because it was one of the first ones he wrote. I still enjoyed Color of Magic a decent amount, so hopefully I'll still enjoy this one. I'm sure that I'll at least have an entertaining time with it because Terry Pratchett's just a great writer and very entertaining and very funny. So hopefully I'll enjoy this one, and hopefully I can get my hands on some more Discworld soon because I'm going to need some more of it because this is the only one that I have that I haven't read yet. So excited to check that one out as well. So that is pretty much it for my TBR. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books before and what you thought of them if so, and which ones you're particularly excited to hear my thoughts on, whatever they may be, or if there's anything here that if you have read it, if you liked it, if you didn't, anything here that you would like to read in the future, whatever your thoughts may be, let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you are going to be reading anything cool this month that you have planned, let me know that as well. So that is pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.